here with last month's winner, Brian. Congratulations, man. You won the Cannular.
Woohoo! Thank you.
How long you been brewing for?
Well, I've been brewing for, it started a really long time ago. I went to school up in Chico and I made my first batch of beer. I don't know if you would call it like beer back then, but it was really bad. But like seriously homebrewing for like the last maybe 5 or 6.
Cool. Very cool. And you had mentioned in the email that you were thinking about getting into canning.
Yeah, I actually have a buddy who had let me borrow a Cannular. It was a game changer. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I get to put it into a can and give it to people. I think that's the part of the joy of homebrewing is sharing it with others. So it's going to make it super easy to do that. I can't drink nearly as much as I brew, so I got to get rid of it somehow.
Exactly. Welcome to this week's Free Beer Friday. This week we have a continuation of how our Hop Rhizome's going. It's now a full-on plant. As you can see, it's grown up enough, and I've got a paper rope trellised here all the way up to my roof line. It's close to 20 feet up there, and I'm excited of how quickly it's growing. It loves this southern exposure. This week's free kit of the week is American wheat. We're getting to be summertime here in California, or close enough to it. It's going to be 90 today, and I just thought a nice, crisp American wheat is just a perfect summertime beer. So to win, go to morebeer.com/freebeerfriday and do the weekly giveaway. This week, we are going to continue our Q&A with Vito, but first, some outtakes. Stop. Boop. Thanks for watching. See you next Friday. I'm not doing that because I hate this. Don't know what to do with my hands. Last month's torpedo winner. Torpedo winner?
Torpedo keg?
Damn the torpedoes! Woo!
Should I do a whoop?
Whoop whoop! Giving away the FermZilla. We have 8 great reasons. Oh, did I just say FermZilla?
Fermentasaur.
So Vinny, the last batch of beer we brewed together. So Francis. All right, Vito, we got the Rito.
Rito.
Henceforth, you're watching Free Beer Friday. What the fuck does
Did you create that?
My brain like froze. It's like, come up with a word. Come up with a word.
How do you make an Italian stop talking? You hold his hands down. Are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Great. That would be a good one.
Good outtake. How do I add yeast nutrient on the cold side while avoiding contamination?
Good question. So what I would do is first I would boil water, right, to drive oxygen out of it, and then also sanitize it, kill any bacteria in there. Then we need to cool it without letting any ambient microflora back in. So that's, a challenge. Tinfoil's your best friend in that situation. Then yeast nutrient, there's nothing living in there. It's just yeast hulls, nitrogen, things like that. So just mixing it in while it's hot is okay. Then wrapping it in tinfoil, like I mentioned, and letting it cool, and then getting it in that fermenter. Spray your Star San, your isopropyl alcohol around, and get it in there. That would be my take on it. Chris, what do you think?
So that was the complicated answer. The simple answer for me is it's not something I would typically worry about introducing a new bacteria from the nutrient itself, as long as you've stored the nutrient well. If you kept it in the bag that it was shipped to you in, it was packaged pretty sterile, pretty easy to use. So I wouldn't be fearful that there's living things in there that you're going to be adding. It's more about the transfer and getting it in there, and Vito covered those perfectly. Tinfoil, heat blooms, isopropyl alcohol, anything you want to kind of help make the environment better is where I'd focus mostly on.
If I'm building a DIY kegerator, should the CO2 bottle be in the fridge or outside?
The reason you're probably going to hear anyone professional say put it outside is 2 good reasons. One is inside the refrigerator is expensive. That they're usually smaller and they cost a lot per square foot in reality compared to your whole warehouse. But the more important reason to keep it outside is longevity of the mechanics of the regulator, and it has a diaphragm in there. And if you store that cold, The diaphragm typically is a material that'll contract or get rigid in the cool, and you can end up, if it's a cheaper regulator, with creep, where the temperature or the pressure starts creeping up with the colder it sits, or just sitting at the same temp and just slowly rising. So the longevity of your regulator will thank you for sitting outside the fridge, but it's okay if you need to put it in, because there's no easy way to do it. The other thing you should note, if you have a dual gauge regulator, the second gauge is typically telling you how much gas you have left in the tank. It's not very accurate in that it's not telling you how much gas, it's how much pressure is coming off the liquid. CO2 is a liquid, so we're using the gas that comes off the top, and that's one of the reasons with your standard tank you want to keep it upright. And so if you put it in the fridge, you can almost expect it to say you need to order gas, because everything is contracting in there. You're not putting out as much pressure off that liquid. Outside the fridge, it's probably going to be up in the 700 to 800 range, and it works great that way.
Like most homebrewers, I moved to kegging instead of bottling for obvious reasons. My question is, if I use a good beer gun to fill bottles from the keg, how long will they stay fully carbed?
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit. A specific product was mentioned in the filling there, and kind of want to separate that product from all products that you could use to fill a bottle with. So let's talk the easiest, and you see it all the time. Pour it right off a faucet and into a growler, anything to go that's just poured right through the air, seal top, go. And that's good for what, about 3 hours, 6 hours, maybe 12?
Day or two, but not much longer than that.
Think of this, oxygen is your enemy. And the more you keep that out in this transfer, because that's essentially what you're doing, is transferring it from your keg to a bottle, the least amount of oxygen, the longer it's going to stay purely carbonated. So let's go to the ideal answer, which would be a counter pressure bottle filler. And those you typically get to purge the bottle with gas, pressurize the bottle, start the fill, and control the differential between how much the bottle's holding pressure versus how much pressure is being put on there to have a nice controlled fill. And then you take the whole thing out. You do get a little introduction of oxygen in that time frame, and cap it right away. At that, you're just as good. That beer is going to last, in my opinion, just as long as it was in that keg.
Yeah, definitely. You'll crack that bottle, months down the road and still hear CO2. That CO2 is still in solution. It's not really creeping out. Yep.
And then there's a line of products kind of in between those two, filling it right from the faucet to there. The beer gun is a super popular one for a very good reason. It is so close to perfect in that it does everything great. You can purge that bottle, fill the bottle with ease, get it all the way in there, but it's not an actual counter pressure. So that's the only difference. You might end up with a little bit more oxygen pickup, not much. I know a ton of people who use it for competitions and have never been dinged on O2. So I don't think it's bad. It's just, I just wanted to make that one clarity difference there. And even on using good techniques with the beer gun, I think again, that beer should last just as long in the bottle as it did in that keg.
Can you cover how I would age with oak chips?
Yeah, so oak chips are a great product. The nice thing about it is, they're chips, so you get a lot of surface area. What I like to do at home when I've done is create a tincture, add a little spirit with those wood chips, and then add that to the fermenter.
That's great because that spirit just sanitizes those oak chips.
Yeah.
The other thing is, depending on what kind of beer you're doing to why you want oak on there, sometimes a little bit of that flavor is nice too. Not just the oak, but sometimes whatever it was that you blended it with, a whiskey or whatever, can be a really nice character. So not only are you, sanitizing with the high alcohol, you're also helping to extract some of the tannins and such out of that oak a little bit faster than they would normally just sitting in there. The other thing to consider is chips are good. Cubes, in my opinion, are better. They're more uniform, especially the toast level on them. And usually they come in more variety. French, Hungarian, what level of toast they have on there. So that's personally what I use. Well, we're loving these question and answer segments. They're fun to do, and we're getting great material out of them. So if you have any more questions you want us to address, please put them down in the comments below. And don't forget, this is the last week to enter the FermZilla giveaway. Go to morebeer.com/freebeerfriday and go to the monthly giveaway.